Yeah, DC, I kill them with a kindness. Made the music timeless and time again until they rewind it. Well, melanin aside, I'm one of a kind when I get to rhyming, styling, and I'm not into priming. Finding every pocket and diving. It's the fat of the land we divide, and I watch the game, then I put the time in. Sweet presidential, I'm abiding. I ain't done refining, now I'm inclined to fill your sinus with the curry and goat. My climate feel the royalty call your highness. When you calling me, I'm the pilot. He's the plane, I fly beside him. Never with the violence. Brother, that was silent climbing. Now we on the wave like Odysseus. We trying not to hear the sirens. Treasure hunting pirates. Already by my guidance. Invisible compliance, faith. I guess I'm going wireless, so I carry my coat. Walls all around, I paddle my boat. Wars forget till the clarity spoke. If you wanna live, carry the yoke and die to self like murder she wrote. Son of God, yeah, that's my only hope. Spirit high, I don't handle the toke. In my bag like I'm wearing a tote. Message me or leave it after the tone. Go talk, I'm forever involved. Individuality in my tone. I'm never a clone.
I'm never alone. Anywhere that I roam, I know God has tethered my soul. I'm stepping on stones. This road has been rocky at times. Sylvester Stallone, expendable flows. Got plenty of those inside this millennium dome. My pen is evolved. I ain't talking about Darwinian. I'm Charmeleon. My bar's brilliant. Should charge millions. The star Simeon say, bro, it's really him. I'm the smart choice like the French team when they start killing. The devil wanted me to switch sides like he's Darth Sidious. But I'm afraid I can only invest in the things that my heart's really in. I'm settling scores. Music has got me inspired like never before. I had to go sharpen the edge of my sword. It's illustrative when my weapon is drawn. Return to the game in incredible form. Ever look in the mirror then seen a reflection forgetting it's yours? That's an unsettling thought. When the goats talk, do you listen or do you just pepper the sauce? Cause pretty soon, man, there'll probably be none of them left to endorse. Bro said he ain't trying to marry cause so many end in divorce. But I think he's scared of commitment cause that means addressing his flaws. Help me, your Lord. Turbulent times are coming. I pray we you'll weather the storm. I gain nothing from your losses, so why would I revel in yours? DC and Melly, we cooking something you can't get in the stores.
Yeah, whipping up, mixing the soul food. You know it's good for your core, I couldn't ignore. Stress was affecting my walk, like an Achilles was torn. I wrestled with thoughts, like WWE. The pressure is raw, it's turning the cause. And then we be cutting off ties, the broken umbilical cords. I'm seeking for truth, my mind that needs a masseuse. I reach for my pocket and play a vibe, trying to retreat to a minimal life. I know that we're living on minimal time, often inside of the enemy lines. My pen stays steady, I keep it precise. Crossing the T's and dotting the I's. We carry the goal and gel off the rise. It's not a matter of when, but a matter of why. Yeah, it's not a matter of when, but a matter of why. Yeah.
Outside. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Southside Youth. Obviously, we're not in person. We're doing it a little bit differently for these 2 weeks. Today, we have an awesome Q&A hosted by Spencer and Taylor. But before we get into that, we have a game talking about all things love. It's trivia with Dylan. We got 10 questions all about love and Valentine's Day, and it's going to be super fun. So when you guys come up with your answer, type it in the chat, and then by the end of it, the person who's answered the most questions right, they're going to be getting sent a gift card, and we have prizes for second and third place as well. But without further ado, it's time to get into the first question. All right, here we go. Which ancient civilization is credited with the origins of Valentine's Day? All right, pop those answers in the chat right now. Don't Google it. Don't do any of that stuff. Off the dome. No one's answered yet. We gotta wait for them to Google it. Still nothing.
Greek, Rome.
I think my chat is so delayed.
We got Pangea. Give him like 10 seconds.
And then go to the next one.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, moving on to our second question. What flower is most commonly We don't need to tell them the answer. All right, the answer. No, it's in the chat.
Well, you didn't say who got it right.
Well, no one's gotten it right.
Well, then.
Tell them anyways.
All right, so the answer to our first question, all right, the peanut gallery is instructing me back there, was Rome, all right? So whoever said Rome first, you guys get the point.
You got it right.
Who got it?
Gambert.
Shout out Gambert for getting the first question right. All right, second question. This one's a lot easier. I'm expecting instant answers, all right? What flower is most commonly associated with love? Better be quick with this one.
Oh, wow, that was quick.
Who got it?
Chelsea, exclamation point.
Shout out Chelsea, exclamation point, for getting that one right. All right, time to move on. Our third question. Which artist sang the famous love song, I Will Always Love You?
Can you give me a little more?
And I will always love you. And I. What's going on? Are they dissing me in the chat?
Whitney Houston. Lots of ha-has.
Just wait till I get my Elvis on later.
Dion. Michael Bublé.
All right, so answer number 3. It's not me. It's Whitney Houston, the person who sings that song. All right, question 4. Another easy one, so you better be quick with this one. What does XOXO stand for in romantic messages? You might see this in your birthday card from your grandparents, but So, XOXO, what's it mean? Mom and dad, XOXO. Grandma and grandpa, XOXO. What's it mean?
More examples, please. More examples.
Brother, sister, XOXO. My good buddy, XOXO. Pal, XOXO.
Hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses is correct. All right, question 5. We're almost halfway there. Which city is known as the City of Love? The City of Love. Which city is it?
Chilliwack, BC. Huggies and kitties.
Do we have any correct answers in the chat?
I haven't seen any answers yet.
City of
Paris,
Love.
Paris.
Oh, who got it?
BB.
Oh,
BB7.
shout out BB7. The correct answer was definitely Paris. All right, number 6. Which fruit is often associated with love and passion? This could be tough. If we think about Valentine's Day desserts, maybe that might help you out.
Chilliwack.
Quite parched.
This guy's drinking my water. You better go get me more afterwards.
No way. Oh, we got a strawberry? Who got it?
Strawberry first with Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson, absolutely killing it right now.
Man, that sounds like a full name.
Oh, time for more singing, guys. Which classic love song starts with the lyrics, "Wise men say only fool rush in,
Oh, wow.
for I can't help
Okay, help.
falling in love with you. Shall I
That's it now. Got it.
stay? Would it be?
Jeez Louise.
We want the name of the song and the artist. We need name and artist for you to get the points here, all right? Name and artist. We got name and artist in there yet?
No, not yet.
I'm pretty sure I crushed that, so
Michael Jackson. CEO. Elvis.
Yeah.
we need name and artist.
Oh, Lisa W.
Elisa W?
Lisa W is Elvis.
We need name of the song too.
Fiend.
Insert fiend sound effect. I want name and artist, Spencer. Does anyone have name and artist?
Not yet, no.
I literally said the words.
Elvis Falling in Love.
Ooh.
Close enough. Who said it?
I Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis.
Who said that?
Chelsea.
Oh.
Exclamation mark.
Chelsea exclamation mark is absolutely crushing it. Early lead. She's headed towards, what is it, a $20 winners gift card for first place? $25 to winners. Whew. Get you a lot of Coke Zero at the checkout. All right.
Where's this gift card to? Walmart?
No, at the checkout of Winners, there's Coke Zero. Have you never been to Winners? You could also get yourself like 3 mugs, too. All right, moving on. Question 8. Which country was the first to introduce Valentine's Day as an official holiday? This is a tough one. We're looking for the country, all right? And it's not Canada. I'll tell you that. Give you guys some time. If you don't get it, I'll give you a hint. It's a tough one. In the meantime, I'm going to have another sip. Oop.
You guys know about that.
That's not.
Can't break your stuff.
Oh,
Drink my water.
Gamber popping off the throat.
Oh,
Correct.
I thought you thought Gamber clutched up and got it right.
No. Oh, Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson got it? Oh, shout out Scott Johnson.
On fire.
I don't know if I've ever met a Scott at Southside. Maybe they're on their parents' account.
That's for sure.
Because I feel like that is such a dad name.
Oh,
Unless Scott is actually a youther, then I would love to meet you in 2 weeks' time when we're back in person, March 5th. Subtle plug. All right, question 9. We got 2 to go. So far, I think it's Chelsea and Scott that are in the lead right now. I've also been seeing some Gamber in there too. But question 9. What country produces the most roses in the world? And we're not talking about my family members, the Rose Clan. We're talking about the actual physical flower, okay? Gotta stay hydrated. My throat is swelling up. I think I ate something I was allergic to.
Amber is banning countries.
Just random. No.
India,
No.
Netherlands,
No.
Netherlands,
No. No. No.
Netherlands.
No.
Oh, Mark got it.
Mark got it?
Or
Oh, shout out Mark.
sneaky Googler you.
All right. Heading into our last question. Question 10. What does the word Valentine originally mean? All right. I need one of the three words that it originally means. Start shouting out words when we hear them. Cricket. No, the key is, what I do is you speak into Chat GPT, and that's instant answers.
Oh, Gamber said love.
No, that's incorrect, Gamber. Close, though.
Love,
No.
mine,
No.
Saint Valentine, my love,
No. No. No.
last name of a saint,
No.
special,
No.
Cupid,
No.
strong.
No. Oh, yes! Strong is right!
Oh, that's Lincoln.
Who said that?
Lincoln.
Oh, my boy. That's one of my grade 6 boys coming in clutch. All right. That's all 10 questions. Do we have a top 3 from...
We'll have to go back and count them up and then DM them.
All right. So, if you get a DM from Southside Youth, that means you're one of our 3 winners. So check your inboxes sometime in the foreseeable future, and we'll get your email to send you guys the link for your gift cards. But that does it for me and Love with Dylan. That means I'm passing it off to Spencer and Taylor for an awesome Q&A, answering all of your guys' questions about love. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
What's up, guys? We're live?
We're in it.
Well. I don't think I'm going to be drinking any water for the entire time that I sit here. Guys, I went all the way down to the kitchen to make sure that I'd be hydrated for this, and a stranger's mustache.
Dill.
Jeez.
Dill gotcha.
I'll just tuck that baby back there. So welcome to our relationships Q&A. Like Dylan said, we're obviously not in person today, but I'm super excited to jump here on this live Q&A with Taylor and I answering all of your guys' relationship questions. And just like Dylan said, for those of you who won the trivia, we'll send you a DM. Not in the foreseeable future. We'll do it tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow morning we'll send you those gift cards so you guys don't have to worry about that at all. But every year, I feel like whenever we're around Valentine's Day, relationships are just such a hot topic. I feel like we just have to address them. It seems like there's something so different about love, right? Like, it's like we have all these feelings that we experience in our life, but love is the one that is just so unique, right? We want to talk about it. We want to hear more about it. It's more complicated than any of the other ones that we experience. And so today, we want to do our best to answer your questions about love and relationships. Yeah, and the reality is that we're speaking from the foundation and the understanding that you need to be aware that you are loved by Jesus in order for you to have healthy relationships with those around you. That the 2 greatest commandments that Jesus speaks about is love God, love others. And I think that you need both in order to have healthy friendships as well as healthy dating relationships in your life. And so we're going to be speaking from that perspective, from the perspective of people who are pursuing a relationship with Jesus, pursuing what it looks like to be the best that we can be and be the person that Jesus created us to be. And I hope that makes sense, but I'm really excited. So we asked you questions on Instagram a little while ago, so we're going to be using some of those questions as well as some of the ones that pop up in the chat. So make sure if you have questions at all that you are actually throwing them in the chat, and we will get Jake to kind of shoot them our way when we need to answer them. So the first one that we got this quite a bit on our Instagram question box, was why am I scared of commitment?
Whew, that was a big one. That was a big
Why
one.
am I scared of commitment? And I do think that this is probably one that most people have, right? Like there's like maybe a little bit of a fear with commitment. And I think that there's a few things that contribute to maybe this fear of commitment. Because the reality is that commitment is really, really difficult, right? The truth is that the longer that you spend with someone, the more time that you spend with someone, the more vulnerable that you kind of have to be, the more that you get to know each other. And sooner or later, like the real you is going to have to show up, right? Like you're going to have to express like maybe real fears that you have, or they're going to have to see the more genuine version of you. Because I don't know about you guys, but when you meet somebody for the very first time, or you know that you're only going to spend a little bit of time with them, it's pretty easy to like fake a smile or to like, you know, be a certain way. But the longer you spend with them, the more time you get to know them, you have to be more and more real with them, which is really scary, right? Because like, what if you know, real you shows up, right? Like maybe you express a fear that you have or a struggle that you have. And instead of that person responding by like accepting you or wanting to get to know you better, or even wanting to support you in what you're going through, they maybe judge you for it. Or even worse, they spread it like to people at school or something like that, which is like, I think for me, like that is like a pretty big fear. I was like, what if this person takes what I've trusted them with and like, I don't know, misuses it? So I think that that's like a huge fear. A huge fear about commitment is that the longer that you spend with someone, the more that you actually
Have to kind of reveal like
Yeah.
the true you. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Absolutely. Which is actually tricky, because you could then get to a point where like you have to decide, am I just going to be really, really shallow in my relationship with this person, or am I going to like take a risk?
Yeah.
Which I believe is like God has not designed us to live a life of shallow relationships, right? Like I think that he's designed us to be in deep relationships. Our lead pastor, Pastor Mike, actually says like it's a real me meets real you kind of relationship. And that's the kind of relationship that we've been designed for, not just like in dating, but actually in friendships as well. And so, and then I think, you know, something that's interesting is that I think that a unique like feature of the time that we live in is that because of social media and like online dating, there's like, it feels like there's so many options out there, right? Like there's like, you have access to everybody in the whole world. And so like, there's a fear of commitment, I think, because it's like, whoa, like what if I pick the wrong person? Or like, you know, like there's too many people out there for me to choose. And so what if I pick the wrong one? And so I think that feeds into the fear of like, and like, what do
It's
I
like
do?
watching a YouTube video instead of watching Reels.
That's
The
true.
commitment to buying into a full movie instead of ripping Reels for a couple hours.
That's actually, yeah, very real.
Man.
Yeah, that's really real. Yeah, this leads into another question that
came
I
in,
think, was asked on our Instagram as well, which is, how do you find the one? How do you find the one? Like this idea of the one. You know, like you guys, it's so romantic, right? Like this idea that like there's this one person out there for you, right? Like you're walking down the hallway and you bump into each other, you know, she drops her papers on the floor, you both bend down, you both gather them up together, and you look up and there they are, the one, right? Or maybe you reach for the same door handle and your hands touch, right? Like there's the one. Like this idea that there's this one person out there for you. It's just such a, you know, incredible idea, right? So beautiful. It's fate. It's fate for me, right? And I think that we can actually, I mean, buy into what movies and TV tells us, which is that, right? And I think that it's also reassuring to us. Like maybe you have a crush and they told you they don't like you, and you can reassure yourself, you know, like maybe they're just then not the one, right? The one is still out there for me to find. And so I think that we like, I don't know, I think that's such a beautiful idea, right? Like you could find the one, but I think there's definitely
Fairy tale ending, of course, man.
it's
gotta love
beautiful, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful idea. But yeah, I think that the maybe tragic side of it is that like there's also like a dark side.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like, well, like what if I miss it? Like what if I miss?
You're cooked.
Yeah, if you
That's
miss
it.
the one, like that's it. Like I'm done forever. And yeah, like I think for sure when it comes to like relationships with someone, like there has to be a connection, right? Like I think that there has to be that initial, maybe it's a common interest, or maybe it's a moment that you guys had where you're like, man, like I really enjoy spending time with this person. But in my experience, the one, this idea of the one is actually the person that you choose to be the one. Like when I saw this question, I actually thought of something that Sydney and I said. My wife, Sydney, and I. If you guys didn't know, my wife's name is Sydney. I wanted to clarify,
Thanks for making that one clear.
When we got married, there's a part in our vows that I wanted to read to you guys that says this: do you freely choose to bind yourselves together in marriage? Will you help your love to grow? Will you receive into your own understanding the other's feelings, thoughts, and intentions? Will you be partners with God to see that your lives reveal a quest for beauty, truth, and goodness through faith, hope, and love? Will you keep faithful to each other throughout your lives? And at the same time, we both said we will. And I think that really shows, like, what does it mean to find the one? It means that the one is the one that you choose to be with. Like, this idea that it really is about deciding who you want to be with.
Yeah.
Because if it's all simply based on, I don't know, the fact that you both like the same thing, maybe you're both into the same kind of music or something like that, it's just a really weak foundation to build it on. And you need more than that. You need like you need to be chosen and to choose somebody else. But you need to have the wisdom that like only comes from, people in your life and a relationship with Jesus to help you make the decision of who it is that you want to choose to be with. Sorry, go ahead, T.
I think a tough part of that too is like when you think of like the one, you think of like your dream person and all the traits that they have or you hope they would have. And realistically, like, I don't know, the person that you look to for that won't always be able to meet every single expectation, but that's part of like the beauty behind a relationship and how you choose to love someone through that as well.
Right. Yeah, no, that's so good. I'm just checking out the questions that we have coming in right now. This is a great one. Dating in middle school is crazy. That's the comment. Okay. So like maybe the question would be like, like when should I start dating? Or like how old should I be when I start dating? Taylor, so you're dating this girl, right?
Yes.
Her name's Emily.
That is Emily, yeah.
So like how old were you when you guys started dating?
We started dating when we were 16, so that was grade 11 then of high school.
Just got your learner's permit?
Oh boy, driving around with my mom in the car and her in the back seat. What a dream.
Yeah.
And I think that, there's definitely something to be said with like dating at a young age and in school as well. Just because I think that there's a big difference between having a thing with someone or like having a crush on someone, but dating someone, I think that there's a significant step that should be taken very seriously.
Yeah.
And I think to say that you're dating someone, that there's a little bit of like heaviness that you should bring with that, just because it is a commitment and it's not just something that you should take lightly.
But Taylor, what if we don't want to label it? Like what if we want to be like
labels? Like, I guess, some people could see labels as scary, but at the same time, if it doesn't have a label, then what is it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, how would you know what you guys are doing and what's like the point of it if there isn't a label? And just to take, like I said, to take that jump into a relationship, putting a label on it is part of that step.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, think about it. If somebody handed you like a bottle of pop that had no label on it, and they're like, "Here, man, like, take it. This is the best one I've ever had in my life," and it just has no label, just a clear bottle with some clear liquid in it. You're like, I don't know what that is, man. I am a little nervous to try this pop that you really like, right? It's like when there's a label on something, you probably would know a little bit more.
Yeah, there's
right?
a little less.
It's a little more clear what it is.
Yeah, that's not ideal. That's not ideal at all. I think also why it is important to take, like, getting into a relationship and dating someone serious is because when you take that step into it, it can also have that effect where, like, if you guys like break up, that could hurt as well. So that's why jumping into a relationship is important, just because the back half of that, because say that doesn't work out, that's gonna leave pain on your life for the next few years at least, kind of thing. Yeah, no, that's real. I think like heart stuff, no matter like how big or how small, like whether it's like a crush or you, I don't know, have been dating for a couple of months or even a couple of years. I think that when there's like whether it's a breakup or somebody says that they actually aren't into you, like there's a lot of pain I think that comes with that, even if it's like something small, right? Like I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that. Like I remember when I was in high school, there was a girl who had a huge crush on, and I told her that I had a crush on her, and she was like, "Yeah, no thanks." And I was like, no. Listening to sad music in my bedroom, right? Like that's a tough one. It's tragic. It is tragic. That's why love is so different from every other emotion. Yeah, it's true. That'll get you. Wow. That'll get you. That's facts, Taylor. Dude, that's dating in middle school though. Whew. Bring it back to the middle school days. Yeah, that's crazy. Dating in middle school is crazy. That's not a question, but true. True that, brother. Yeah, quickly, okay, while we're just,
taking all that in, why don't you guys just take a quick moment, hit that little button that says subscribe right underneath there. Get us dialed, okay? We want you to come back. Okay, let's check the chat for more questions. Okay. I mean, some of these I think, like, for example, like, how do you deal with rejection? I think that we can even talk about that. Like, how do you deal with a breakup?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that's a few of these are kind of, how to get over your ex. So, how do you deal with a breakup? Taylor, what do you think, what do you think you could give to these lovely students for advice?
I think, like all of the questions we're answering, a solid foundation of faith is where you want to approach each one of these questions. I think along with that, community is a very, very big one. I think that it's very tough to be very connected with this one person, and then now that they're not in your life anymore, you put all like the eggs in their basket, hoping that they would like meet all your ends and not have anybody else in your life to try to rely on. Because when that's a situation, when you lose that person, then when you're left just by yourself, that is very, very difficult. So just looking to surround yourself with people that you can confide in and just share what you're going through, I think that's a good step to look to.
Yeah, well, that's so good, Taylor. I mean, like time with good people, I think is a really big deal. And I mean, like that's also like dependent upon you having good people in your life, right?
Yeah.
So like making sure that you have, like kind of we talked about in that first question of like, why am I scared of commitment, right? Like you need to make sure that you actually have people in your life that you've had the opportunity to like express the real you to, and you've had that like real me meets real you experience with, where you can trust them, and you know that they care for you, right? So like, I think that's so good, Taylor.
I think there's
time with good friends is a huge deal.
Yeah, I also think that it is almost case by case too. Like
what
I
do you
think
mean by that?
like some people will find different ways. Like for me, for example, like I would find that like time with people that I really care about would definitely make a transition from a time that's hurtful like that better. But I also know, like, I don't know, chowing down on some ice cream and watching a movie. Like there are just different ways to handle situations like that. But I wouldn't say that like there's one answer to that question that's going to solve it either.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, heartbreak is complicated, right? Like it's like we already said, like love is so different than like any other feeling that we have, right? And even if it's like little baby love and like a crush or something like that, right? Like it's
puppy
like
love.
Little, exactly. It's just so unique, right? Because I think that it feels like it's, I don't know, like it almost feels like you like experience physical symptoms when your heart is
A little withdrawal,
experiencing pain. Yeah, like so. I think I mean, good time with good people is great. I mean, like I don't know, like maybe it sounds lame, but like time with God is a big deal, right? Like that being able to actually spend time and like the reason behind that being like you need to be reminded of your value and like that you matter, and that you know, like maybe the reasons why they broke up with you, or the things that the lies you're believing about yourself because it ended, are not true. So I think that's actually hugely important as well. And then I feel like just like time period, right? Like
time heals all wounds. Is that a quote by somebody?
I mean, it's like only like partially true, I guess, but like
heard it somewhere.
But yes, agreed. Time with good friends, time with God, and time
with
period.
ice cream. Oh
sorry, you're right. Time with Ben and Jerry.
Ben and Jerry. When in doubt, dig it out of the cup. You can quote that.
Sure. Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, let's check this chat here. Okay. How do you know if someone likes you? How do you know if someone likes you? Lots of you guys wondering if somebody likes you. Is that a common one? Yeah, it seems like it.
Shall we dive in?
Yeah, we should definitely answer that question.
What are your thoughts on that?
How do you know if somebody likes you?
Yeah. I don't know. You're locked in. Hey, we're married now.
How do you know if someone likes you? I mean, like, short of making it too simple, like you should probably just ask them. hey, cut to the chase. But imagine you think like, I
this person.
I know.
This person likes me, and then you go over there and you ask them, and they're like, Oh, you got the wrong idea here.
You're a really good friend.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah. How do
We're
you know
friends,
someone?
though.
How do you know if someone likes you? Yeah. I mean, that's tricky, right? Because I feel like it depends on how well you know the person, right? Like, I think that you can misread people's cues probably to you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, oh, they like me.
I
They
also
like me,
think
but they're just nice.
that people just give off weird cues sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, people will do weird things to...
Sure, what's an example of that, Taylor?
I know that there was one time that somebody sent me letters, and that was, I guess, a way of like affection, but it was just like it was given creepy grandma vibes, and that was just not a right way to like
He's
swing
not
it.
saying that your grandmas are creepy if they send you letters.
No, not that. That is sweet from a grandma, but I don't know. I just think that it's so like different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, how can you tell someone likes you? Yeah, I guess you don't know until you know and ask them.
Yeah, that's actually true.
I think that goes with, I don't know, there's definitely a leap of faith in that no matter what.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's pretty real, unfortunately. Which, like, I mean, okay, so let's like break this down then. So like, say you think that somebody likes you.
Yeah, like what are the
Right?
things I would look
No, like
at?
how would you approach, like, I don't know, asking them out?
Okay, I definitely wouldn't, personally, I wouldn't go straight at it. I wouldn't
Okay.
I wouldn't attack it. I'd go very, very casually. I'd be like, like maybe ask this person to hang out. Like just keep
Yeah,
it
that's
simple
good.
like that.
That's good.
Right? Like I'm not gonna be like, hey, you've been following me around a little bit. Do you like me? I think, yeah, I would ask them to hang out. And then I just like kind of suss out the vibe, be like, huh, did they actually want to hang out with me? Or, and then maybe take that a little bit farther. I don't know, slow baby steps of like
Yeah.
putting your toes in the water.
I mean, I think that's
That's what I would do.
I think that's probably fair, but like, yeah, I think that's fair because it is tricky, right? Like, I don't know, like you said, you have to eventually take a risk, you guys.
Yeah.
You have to eventually ask, like, do you like me? Do you like me? Or, like, that's the question.
That's
Do you
the
like
question right there.
Do you like me? Yeah, sweet. Let's check the chat here.
Chat, you're still not drinking your water that Dylan
No, that's
backwashed into?
disgusting. Like I said before, I don't know what's been in his mustache. Like, I don't want no like mustache fleas or something.
Careful now. Says you.
Is that a real thing?
Says you.
Okay. You're right. That was hurtful. How do I build trust in relationship? I feel like that covers
wonderful question.
quite a few of these. How do you build trust in a relationship?
Wonderful question. You started off.
No, why don't you?
Okay. I think that trust in any type of relationship, because I think that can go with friends, it can go with
Yeah.
family, it can go with like romantic relationships.
Yeah.
I think that time is a big one, because just getting
Right.
to know how this person like I don't know, just interacts in like everyday scenarios. And then I do think that along with trust goes vulnerability, and that's a big piece of it. So when you're hanging out with this person, you're getting like just to create like a depth to your relationship.
Yeah.
And then I feel like all these questions keep bringing it up, but there is that risk factor of you putting out that, hey, I'm going to be vulnerable with this like situation with you, and it really is just like, man, I really hope that you don't take what I've given you and hurt me with it.
Yeah.
And once they've proven, hey, like you can trust me with that I feel like that right
Yeah.
there is the trust.
Yeah, which is, trust is a funny thing because it's like it's one of the few things that like you actually have to like do it to build it, like to create it.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
you can't build trust without actually trusting somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you're like, okay, well, like, but how do I trust somebody enough to trust them? Like you have to actually at some
circle.
point sooner rather than later. And I feel like it's all with like wisdom, right? Like
Yeah.
if you, I don't know, if there's somebody who's mean to you and bullies you, like you're probably not gonna trust them. So like that's, I think, fair, right? Because like maybe they've proven to you that they're not trustworthy.
Yeah.
And maybe if somebody's like, turned around and taken something you've said to them and spread it to people around you, or to people at your school or whatever, like that breaks down trust, right? Which like would make you want to trust less, which I think is totally fair. And so I think that building trust in a relationship is just continued opportunities or moments where
Taking
you
those steps.
yeah
What are your thoughts on someone saying like trust everyone until they prove you wrong? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think that that's probably true though.
Yeah.
But like, unless you like have reason to not, or like if there's maybe a track record they have where they have maybe betrayed people close to you, or they've done things that are untrustworthy to people close to you.
Yeah.
But like, there's not really, like, trust is easily given, right? But it's not very easily like built back up. Like it's easily
Once
no,
you
it's
lose
easily
it,
broken.
it's
I guess
tough,
that's the word. Easily broken, but not easily built.
Back. Mm-hmm.
Because like, I don't know, you can so quickly trust somebody because they've given you no reason to think otherwise, or to not, until they do something that's hurtful or you know, destroys that trust. You know, it's like, I think I've seen people use like a water balloon, right? Like it's like trust is like that water balloon. Like you're filling it up over time. But like one thing, like if you pop that balloon, like it's all done.
Gone,
you have to start from scratch, which is that's really tough. But that's unfortunately, like, that's the way it is. That's why it's so important that, I don't know, like, we work to be trustworthy ourselves first.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I don't know. Yeah.
And the question was like how to build trust.
Yeah. Well, there's a few that have to do with trust, right? Like. Yeah.
I think like
how do I trust someone without being scared? Like that's one of the questions straight from.
Got a hard truth for you there.
Yeah, it's always I hate to break it to you. It's always scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would you say the same thing? Like that anytime you've had to trust someone?
Yeah, there's always that, just like, man, they could do something terrible with this. So let's see.
Yeah.
I think the foundation of any good relationship is trust, though. So that's why I'm happy that there's so many questions about it, because it is a very important piece to relationships.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess to go over the initial question, I think, just very like baby steps, but it is a risk each time.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. How do I know if someone is a good person? Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think that's obviously like when you're wanting, especially when you're looking to, date somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like you're hoping to obviously date someone who's a good person. And like, I think that what I want to define is like, what do you mean by a good person? And like probably someone who's not, hurtful to you, someone who, like is actually shares maybe the same values as you. Cause like good is such a, like, because in reality, none of us are like truly good, right? Like there's all of us have flaws and are imperfect, and are all in our own way. And so like, I think when you say good person, like, I mean, I think it comes really down to like, okay, well, like what is like a healthy relationship, right? Like what should you look for in a relationship, period?
Yeah.
Right? Like, does that seem fair?
Yeah, I would say so. Because I don't know. A good person's a tough one, man.
Yeah, like
that's such a broad.
Because I'm sure you could honestly point out something about every single person that could convince somebody else that they're not a good person.
And vice versa, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like.
But what if somebody wants a bad boy?
Oh my god.
How would you answer that?
Oh gosh.
Okay, we're not gonna.
We're not getting into that. It's not in the chat. It's not in the chat. Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. But like,
I think we can lead into what makes a healthy relationship then.
Yeah, I think that's kind of at the core of that question, right? Like, yeah. So Taylor, what do you think? What's a healthy relationship?
I think, like we just talked about, healthy relationships are founded on trust. I think that is a big part about it. I think that there's almost two ways that you can divide this into like friend relationships as well as romantic relationships.
Yeah.
So things to look for in a good friendship, I would just say wanting to build each other up is a very big one. I think it's very, very common to have, especially in high school. Actually, I have something to speak to for all of our people in school, which should be every single one of you, or senior high specifically. In those like years of high school and then transitioning out of that, whether that's university or whether that's work or whatever you may be doing, it's very, very common for your circles to dwindle and grow smaller. And that is like a scary thought initially, but it is nice in the fact that it's really honing in on your core group. Right. And I think that is kind of what dials into like, okay, these are like my good friends. And then what makes a good friend again is just like somebody who wants to build you up, somebody who isn't envious of different things, which is a common one, especially in school. People who talk behind your back is a tough one that kills a lot of friendships like that. Did we have the definitions of that?
Yeah. I mean, we obviously prepared a little bit for this, and
Obviously.
we have we kind of even have like a couple of lists just about like what does it really mean to like, well, what does it look like to have a good friendship, and another one specifically about romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Right. So friendship, like I think Taylor said, that's
yeah.
super important. Defining, because
Mm-hmm.
like when we talk about relationships, right, like that actually encompasses like, friendships
Mm-hmm.
as well as romantic relationships. So like Taylor said, like, so the list we have here, friendship, they're people who are in your corner when you are with them and when you're not. Like that's something that I think is really important. Because if somebody is in your corner to your face, like, oh yeah, like I love you, I got you, man, I got you, and then like they're gossiping about you or like spreading things about you behind your back, that's not somebody who's in your corner. That's somebody who's like actually betraying your trust, who's breaking down the trust that we said was so important. So yeah, they're in your corner when you're with them and when you're not. They want to see you grow. They want to see you become the best version of you. They're willing to work through conflict. Like they're not gonna bail if you guys get in an argument or there's a fight or something comes up or there's a misunderstanding. They stick with you even when you screw up, which like feeds into that, right? Like they are willing to work through conflict. They challenge you to grow in your faith and in your relationship with Jesus. And I love this last one. They tell you the truth even when it's hard. Yeah, right? They tell you the truth even when it's hard. I don't know, because like my best friends, they've said some stuff to me that I really didn't like. Right? They've said some stuff to me that I really was not happy to hear at all. But it was true, right? I don't know if you guys were here a few weeks ago, I shared a story about when Sydney told me I talked too much. Right? Like we were in a conversation.
Chat, can you tell in this combo?
Please don't answer that.
Chat, cancel that.
Please don't answer that. Please don't hurt my feelings. But she told me that I talked too much, and I was like, man, like that actually sucks. But was it true? Yeah, it was true, and it was actually causing for other people to feel like they couldn't engage with me or like have healthy relationships. So they tell you the truth even when it's hard.
And would you even want a friend who's like willing to just be like, man, this person's doing horrible things, but I'm going to let them do it? Just because, no, that's a terrible.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Terrible friend.
Yeah. Yeah, Taylor, do you want to read the list for the dating relationships? So yeah, we have a different list for dating relationships versus friendships.
Yes.
Taylor, hit us with that first one.
That's this one right here, right? Healthy relationship is one that encourages you and equips you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. A healthy relationship is one that encourages and equips you to embrace who God created you to be. I think that this... Oh, is that the whole list?
No, scroll up.
Oh, am I missing it? Chat.
I'll take over from here.
Yeah, okay, you handle it. Am I missing it?
That's
Connection, is that the one that started?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, I got it.
He's there.
Okay.
Don't worry. He made it.
Okay, so the first one, connection. Friendship is a must. I think that, you have to enjoy being with them. Just that, like, initial factor, which is also important. Like, say that initial attraction part. That I think that is important as well. But that's not going to last. That, especially, like, going into age, like, I mean, maybe there's some great-looking grandparents. I'm not saying that there's not. I'm just saying
when you get older, you're getting uglier.
No, don't quote that. I just think that being able to have fun and enjoy like doing different things with your significant other is very, very valuable. Yeah. And I think that that's a key point of keeping your relationship lively and fun and enjoyable and willing to go that distance if you can create a friend in that first.
I think that's very true.
I think the next one, you have to have the right motivation. I think that when I talked about that initial attraction piece, I think that's important. But if it's for the wrong reasons, if you're not wanting to get into a relationship to like build a friend and like to enjoy life with this person, and you have like what would be another like motivator into that?
You just want to be seen with them?
Yeah, out in public.
Yeah, you just want somebody to make out with. Like,
that'll get you.
Yeah, like those are motivations that I'm gonna be honest, you guys. If you're not gonna admit it, they're pretty common, right? Like you maybe want to be in a relationship because it looks good, or like it looks cool, or like maybe your friends are all getting into dating relationships too, right? So, yeah, those motivations I think are very real, and probably if we're being honest, when you're younger and wanting to start dating, they're probably the primary ones that you would find yourself being motivated by, which would be like, oh, like, you know, all my friends are dating, or like, I really like I want to look cool, so I'm going to get a girlfriend because that's what's the cool thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Ask yourselves. Maybe you're in a relationship right now. What you doing it for?
Talk about this next one. Equally yoked.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think something really important, like we said, like this is all built on the foundation of the understanding that like Taylor and I, we love Jesus. Southside Youth, we believe in Jesus, and we believe that he has the best in store for us. And so a piece of that, like if you're someone who's watching here online and you're in a relationship with Jesus, like you want to continue to pursue God's best for you, something that's really important is this thing the Bible talks about called being equally yoked with somebody. And so a yoke in the Bible context was this thing that they put on like two animals when they were going to like plow a field. And so they would hook up two bulls into it and they'd pull the plow to plow the field. Mm-hmm. And so what's the problem though is that if you had two different sized animals, maybe one was stronger than the other, it actually becomes like nearly impossible for it to them to pull the plow together, because one is dragging the other one. The stronger one is dragging the weaker one, and you know, you're going to get some curvy plow lines for sure, right? Because they're not pulling in the same direction. They're not pulling at the same.
Curvy is not ideal, by the way. Curvy is not ideal.
Plow lines. Correct. You want straight plow lines. Okay. And so in a relationship, that all what they're saying is like you need to be like pursuing the same goal, right? Like in a Christian person's life and someone who believes in Jesus, you would want to pursue a life that honors God and like brings you closer to the person that God created you to be. And so if you get in a relationship with someone who doesn't hold those same values, you're going to have a really difficult time being able to move towards like a life that like the life that God created you to live. And so yeah, that I think is really, really key for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I do think there's like so many points that we could make about, you know, what is like there, I feel like it's endless. You could get super specific on like what makes a healthy relationship. And so like I do think like it kind of boils down to like if somebody in your life, like in a relationship in your life, whether it's a friendship or a dating relationship, if somebody is helping for you to move towards the person you were created to be, or is helping draw out the real you, that's a healthy relationship, right? Like if somebody is not maybe causing for you to want to hide the real you, causing for you to want to maybe, you know, hide within yourself and not show up with maybe your fears or your hopes and your dreams and those things, like that would be an unhealthy relationship. Yeah. So, I mean, there's quite a few.
I do have one more piece just to tie on to that at the end.
Because then we can get into some of these other questions that are in the chat here.
Sweet. I think communication is one. I'm surprised we haven't talked about it yet. But communication, I would say, is one of the bigger ones. I think like trust and communication go very hand in hand with that. And I think being willing to talk about, like we said with good friends as well, being willing to talk about hard things in a relationship is very, very important. Because if you let those things, say, fester over time, like the water balloon you said, it's gonna expand until it blows. And then when that happens, that could like result in something that didn't need to happen if you guys just talked about something small at the beginning.
No, that's really real. That's really real. This question says, what if you're in a relationship but you aren't happy and they make you feel bad about yourself? Like, I mean, first of all, like, that sucks. Like that, like to be in a relationship where you're not happy and they make you feel bad about yourself. Like, I feel like that speaks like directly to the opposite of what we were just talking about.
Definitely.
Right. Like if you're with somebody and like, I don't know why you got in this relationship. Again, maybe if you look back, the motivation was like, oh, like we both like the same music. And so that's why we started dating. But they maybe like make you want to hide that real you, or like maybe they even make you feel more insecure about the person that you are, or make you feel bad about things that you like, or that real you. I think that like that's not a healthy relationship to be in, and like I feel like that's like, I don't know, that kind of relationship has an expiry date. You know what I mean? Like at some point you're gonna have to make a decision. Like, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, that's really, really, really hard.
Yeah, God doesn't want that for you in a relationship, and for I don't know, for you to realize that and realize that's not what you need in your life, then that's obviously step one, and just understanding that that's not what a relationship looks like. Further steps from that are difficult steps, but I mean, they're necessary just to move into that new season of who God created you to be, the more you that we want. But steps into that,
that's hard. And they follow up, and then she says, but I can't break up with them because I love them, which like that's really hard, right? Like I said at the start, like love is a really complicated feeling, because it for sure is a feeling. Like we were talking about this earlier today, like, you know, like there's like the warm fuzzies, right? Like you feel like the warm fuzzies when it comes to love. You're like, oh yeah, like, and I was even like thinking back to like when Sydney and I when I first met her, right? Like when she would walk in a room and I'd like get like these little butterflies. I'm like, oh man, like there's Sydney. Like it's like the feeling that you get, right? Like when it comes to love as well. But then there's love, which is like what we kind of talked about in like the question of how do I find the one? Like the one is the one you choose as well, right? So like there are these little feelings that can come with it when like somebody maybe buys you things, or like in moments makes you feel special. You can have those feelings of love, but if they're not followed up with somebody acting out what it means to love, which I believe is like encouraging that real you to come out, encouraging you to grow into the person you were created to be, I don't think that that's love. Like I don't think that that's love at all.
Yeah, that is very difficult, just because going through school, for example, or any significant like situation in a life, and if you do that with someone, like say you're in a relationship with this person, it doesn't sound like a healthy relationship, but you create that bond with them going through school. Maybe there's a tragic incident and you guys are just looking at leaning on each other to go through that. You do create this bond which is difficult to separate from, but again, like you said, there's an expiry date on that, and that's not self-sustaining.
And I mean the reality is, whoever asked that question, I can't see the names of who asked the question. I just want you to know that like you have value, right? So like if you're in a relationship where you feel as though you aren't valued, like I don't like that for you, like, because I want you to know that like you have value. Like that's what a good relationship should be, is one that pushes you towards an understanding that you are valued, like you are loved, like you're made on purpose with a purpose. Like God wants to know the real you, and he wants other people to experience the real you as well, right? Like and so if that relationship is causing for you to have to hide that, like I just want you to know that like you can find a relationship, whether dating or a friendship, where like that real you is able to you know, be present and to be loved and to be cared for, and for you to not feel bad about yourself. Like that sucks, man. That really sucks. Wow, looks like we ran a poll of if I talk too much and it ended 50-50. Wow, that's pretty...
Wait, 50-50, that's a win, no?
I guess. I'm not happy with that, okay? I'm going to shut up now. Taylor, take it for the rest of it, huh?
What's the next question?
I'm not going to talk anymore.
Oh, no. That's funny. Oh, man.
Wow. So is it the same person, Jake, that added the what if your relationship? So you said, what if you're in a relationship but you aren't happy? They make you feel bad about yourself, but you can't leave because you truly love them. I would ask I was kind of I would echo the answer that was just given, but like what do you mean by truly love? Like what does that mean? What does true love mean? Right.
What is love?
Oh. Yeah, go for it, Taylor.
Oh no, I was just like the song.
I thought he was going to keep singing. I thought he was going to keep singing. I thought he was going to take it all the way to the chorus. Okay, let's just find some more.
Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. Is that Whitney Houston?
Let's see.
Oh.
Yeah, so, I mean, Yeah, I feel like a lot of these are kind of having to do too with that like side of unhealthy relationship. There's quite a few that kind of have to do with, like, yeah, I mean, like how do I know if someone's a good person? We kind of talked about that earlier. The one we just talked about, why do I like people I shouldn't? Right? Like there's things that are complicated with the feeling of love.
Mm-hmm.
But I think something that I'd love to talk about is like, how do you make a decision about somebody? Like, like whether or not you keep them in your life, right? Like, because for example, the last person we just talked to about that question, like you're gonna have to make a decision for yourself. Like, what do I do now? What do I do now with this person who's in my life, or this relationship that I have that's maybe hurtful to me or harmful to me? So like, Taylor, what do you think about that? Like, at what point do you think you cut somebody out of your life, or at what point do you think you make the decision to make a boundary with somebody?
I think with making most decisions, I think there has to be like a backstory of like, okay, well, what does God want me to do that I know like the answer to? Because there's a lot of these questions you're like, man, it doesn't say it in the Bible. This is really, really difficult. So what am I supposed to do? But the things that he does tell us to do, like for example, like loving ourselves and wanting to be our truest selves, I think just from taking those and then applying it into this decision, like the God of the universe is asking us to be like our most selves, and then in a relationship you're kind of being like put into a box where you can't, then that decision like becomes more clear when you just look back and then praying about it and making these decisions. It takes a little bit of inward looking there, and then the steps forward from that. I don't know.
I mean, like I feel like it's so dependent too, right? Because like, I don't know, some people can be a little dramatic. Okay, I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody or anything, but like some people are like, man, like get that person out of your life, and it's because they, I don't know, cut you off, or they, I don't know, stole your Slurpee at lunchtime. Like
Okay,
I think that sometimes, we like people can get a little dramatic about it, or like too extreme, right? Like I feel like we see that in cancel culture, right? Where it's like,
yes.
They were rude to me.
They have a checkered past. Get them out.
And so, never talking to them again. Like never ever. And so I think that it is like it's a tricky thing. So I think that you can be either too quick with it, where you're like just cut everybody out.
You're getting like steamrolled in the
or you can find yourself in a relationship, whether it's friendship or dating, that is actually harmful to you.
Yeah.
And you're staying around because maybe you feel, I don't know, maybe you feel bad. Right?
Yeah.
You don't want to like discount them, or maybe again it's like that confusing feeling of like I feel like I love them, and so I don't want to leave. So I think that you do have to evaluate like what is the severity that's going on in that relationship, right? Like, is it something that could be helped in a conversation with you just saying like, hey man, like when you make jokes like that about how much I talk, it's hurtful. Instead of just saying I'm never talking to Taylor again because he agreed with the poll and actually pushed it to 60-40, and I'm hurt by that. So I think that you have to be able to ask yourself that question.
I have a question for you just to ponder on.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on loving someone who doesn't love you back? How could that be something you work through?
Sorry, I was reading one of the questions. Can you repeat that for me?
How
Run it back, please.
How would you handle a situation where you're loving a person but they don't love you back?
Yeah, like, and I mean, if I'm being honest, I've had to like confront this with one of my close family members, where like there was almost 100% effort from my side.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I was like, I want to connect with you. I want to continue to build relationship. I want to, continue to try to get coffee, continue to show you that I'm here for you. But they almost always ended with like me being hurt.
Yeah.
Right. Where like they wouldn't show up, or they would, continue to watch me like bend over backwards to be there for them. when in return it was just like they were hurting me,
Yeah.
right? Like and making me feel bad about myself, or making me feel like I wasn't doing enough. And like that's a really tricky spot, right? Because it actually requires you to be honest with yourself. And it's not even about like what am I getting out of this relationship. Like I think that's a really bad way to look at it, right? Like to be like, oh, like I think if you look at your relationships in your life, friendship or dating, and you're asking yourself, well, like what am I getting out of this? Like you're already in the wrong spot. You already took a wrong turn. Okay. It's really like you have to evaluate how is it like impacting your overall health. I think that's actually important, right? Because like those experiences that I was having were like making me feel like exhausted and tired, and like I was like almost like abused is a too strong of a word, but like I feel like they were maybe taking advantage of me. Like they were taking advantage of like my kindness and my willingness to do whatever I could to be there for them. Yeah. And there being no reciprocated feeling like that, or no reciprocated action on that, right? So it was like, okay, like I need to be willing to ask myself the question, like, is this worth me continuing to behave in this way, right? Like that didn't mean, and just so you guys know, like it doesn't mean that like I was like, you know what, never talking to them ever again. But what it looked like was me setting boundaries and saying like, I'm gonna go this far with this person because if I go further, like they've proven to me that they actually hurt me in that context or in that situation, right? Like, I don't know, like, and that is a really tough decision, especially if they're close to you. Yeah. Right. Cause like this person in my life is a really close family member, right? So it's like, I had to basically say, hey dude, like I'd have really tough conversations and tell them why I was making these boundaries, and even express to them the hurts that I had experienced from their actions. Yeah. Right. And that's really hard. That's a really hard conversation to have. And like, just so you guys know, like that didn't look, I didn't like say I'm never talking to you again, but that looked like me distancing myself. And so sometimes cutting somebody out of your life might look like that, like just creating some level of distance, especially if you've experienced hurt from them before. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. So, yeah. That's good. Okay. There's a question that keeps on coming up. What do I do if my family is rude to me? What do you do if your family's rude to you, Taylor? Are you kidding me? My sister hits me. You know what my parents do? Nothing. So. Wow. There's tension in the Addams household. There's some tension. Actually, I have something to air. My sister, she shrunk my hoodie in the dryer like 2 days ago, and nothing. That's about it. That's just the end of the hoodie. That's a criminal offense. Yeah, well, she was being rude to me, and guess what? Nothing came out of it. Sometimes you just got to roll with the punches. So, that's. I also have a different view on that, because that was a silly example. Yeah, that was. But like, I don't think that's what people were getting at. Okay? But like when people or when, like you just talked about, family is a very difficult one, because those hard conversations are just ready to happen, and I think airing it out is a big one. Like sitting down with, say, if it's your entire family, or if it's one person in your family, whoever it may be, sitting down with them and just explaining, hey, what you do here or what you said there is actually bothering me. Because I think that a lot of the time that can go, they wouldn't even notice it. Say they're doing whatever this may be. Maybe they're, I don't know, walking around the house just in their underwear, whatever the case may be, but they may never think that that's bothering you. Obviously that was like a very shallow example, but they could be doing something that they don't know is bothering you. And that will keep happening until you explain, hey, this really bothers me. Yeah. So maybe talking about it would be my first step on that. Yeah. And I mean, like something to like, I don't know who you're referring to when you say my family, because it could be your parents that you're referring to. Yeah. And I know that's something that's really hard when we're young, like especially when we're in high school and middle school, is understanding that our parents actually have the best intentions for us and to us. Yeah. And that like sometimes, like you might be saying they're being rude to me, and it's because they're, have asked you to be home at a certain time, and you've consistently not been. And then them saying, if you come home another night and it's later than that, you're getting grounded. And you're like, you're so rude to me, Mom. Like that's not being rude. That's not being rude, right? Like, they actually have the best of intentions for you. And like you should do your very, very best to respect and honor your parents. And that the Bible talks about that as well, right? Like as you are growing up, you need to do everything you can to honor and respect your parents, for sure. And like, so I think that you need to kind of ask yourself, like, okay, well, like, what is it that I'm referring to? Is it something like what Taylor was talking about? Something silly, right? Like they're being rude to me. Every time I play my video games, they want to play with me. And then they get mad when I say no, right? Like that's like, I feel like a conversation you can have.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, like if it's something, like even ask yourself, okay, well, like what is the situation? Like what am I talking about? Do they have even a reason behind it? Could I, even for a moment, believe that my parents actually have the best intentions for me, which I believe that they do. Like I believe that your parents want the best for you, and they want to see you grow up to be the best version of you. Like you guys, you will only have one set of parents, and like you really have to understand that they love you so much, and they do want you to succeed in your life. And like I know that for some of you guys there's complicated relationships with parents, but I know there's parental figures in your life, like people you can look to even be able to encourage you in your life if you have difficulty with that. But if you're referring to parents, I think that it's complicated because they have the best in store. They want the best for you, but sometimes their rules or the things that they're asking of you can come across as rude. Does that make sense?
I think that's good.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, this is a big one, and it seems like there's lots of people responding to this in the chat, so I think we should definitely address it, which is, would Jesus change his view on me if I wanted to be in a relationship with another girl? I feel as if this distances me from him. And I mean, honestly, at the core of this question is, would Jesus change his view on me if I wanted to be in a relationship with another girl? And I feel like this distances me from him. Something that is foundational to what I want all of you to understand of Jesus. And Pastor Mike and Corinne did an incredible job of actually addressing a question fairly similar to this, which was like, would God love me less if I moved in with my partner before marriage? And the first part of this, which is so important, is that Jesus loves you. That's the foundation of this, that Jesus loves you. There's nothing that you could do that would make him love you more, and there's nothing that you would do that would make him love you less, right? And so we're in this journey then in our lives to do our best to cooperate with what Jesus's plan is for our life, like to cooperate with what Jesus's best is for our life. And so Jesus would not change his mind on the way that he viewed you. He wants the best for you, and he's inviting you into a life of blessing. And like, there are lots of things that, we see, and we even, have a difficult time with when we look at what Jesus asks of us to step into in our life in order to, step into the life that he has for us. But the foundation of that has to be that he loves you. Has to be that he loves you. And just to speak even for myself, I can have a difficult time with that. And I have to remind myself, like, the foundation of what Jesus believes of me is that he loves me. That my value is not based off of my doing or the things that I do, or, how well I execute this talk or how much I talk, I have a feeling we're inching closer and closer to the ratio being like 100 to 0. But my value is not based on the doing, right? Like, something maybe corny that people say is like, we're human beings, not human doings. This idea that like we have to focus more on our value being found just in how Jesus loves us and what he says about us, and not in the things that we do. And I hope that makes sense.
That's good.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add to that, Tay?
No, man. You killed it.
I don't know about that, but Jesus will always love you. He'll always love you too, Taylor.
Okay. I appreciate you.
Yeah, let's see. What else is jumping in here? Yeah, I think that quite a few of these are super specific to like your specific situation, right? Like, I mean, we even talked about the what if your family's being rude to you. Like I said, like we don't know what the exact experience is that you're having. And so Jake just said something that I think is really good, and I want to make sure that we can actually address these And if you do have further questions, maybe you actually need further care, like you maybe need to meet with your small group leader, or you need to talk things out, or you just want a little bit more detailed information, just shoot us a DM. Because we would love to answer that. We'd love to connect with you over the next little while, just to be able to help you in your specific context, because there's no way, unfortunately, that Taylor and I will be able to like answer everything in your specific context, because it's so different for every single person. So yeah, shoot us a DM if you have any questions that are really specific or really pointed to a scenario or something like that. Yeah. I can't make good friends. They're all fake.
Ugh.
And then, I mean, I don't want to lose them because they're special to me, even though they make me feel bad. You know what I mean?
That's what it says?
Yeah. YKWIM.
You know what I mean?
Whenever I see somebody put like an acronym like that, I read it real fast. That's what I imagine.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, what would you say to that, Taylor? I can't make any good friends. They're all fake. What is a fake friend?
I feel like we talked about it a little bit earlier. Fake friend. When I first hear that, instantly I just think of like someone who's one way with you, and then in either even a public environment or without you, just absolutely ripping you apart.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing that comes to mind when I hear fake friend. I also think it's kind of tough. Like in school, I wouldn't say that you're forced to have a specific group of friends, but like the people who you are surrounded by is like who you're with. You know what I mean? Like so that is very difficult. That is tough. I think that the people who you are also going to school with, who you may say are your friends right now, will not be your friends for life, necessarily.
Yeah.
Maybe they could be, but not all of them will be.
Yeah.
And I think to put a lot of weight on, these are my friends, these are going to be my ride or dies till for wherever. I think that there's a lot of life to be lived.
Yeah.
And to just hope on these friends.
Yeah, I think that's really real. Yeah, and like, I mean, I do think that it comes down to a lot of the stuff that we've talked about, which is like, is this person, encouraging you to be the best version of you?
Yeah.
Is this person, building trust? So like responding to those risks that you're taking by actually honoring the things that you're trusting them with, right? Like that's, I think, a big deal.
I also think that they're saying like it's hard to like find real friends. I think the places you go, it can be a very big one.
Yeah.
Like say
where would you go?
Where
to
would
find
I go?
Real friends, Taylor.
Southside Youth. I think. Yeah. I think. Well, like to be serious though, I would say that a place where you can go to really just try to find like people who want to grow themselves, who want to grow in community. I think the gym. The gym would be another one that came to mind. I think like places where that you would find friends that maybe aren't the best for you, like parties is a good example. I think that could be one that is not a place that's just trying to brew friendship. Yeah. And that's maybe where it's easy to find friends because it's a very like loose environment, and it's easy to see like, oh, this is a friend of mine just because we got along so well right there. Right. But a friend is somebody who you can be like that with even in hard times, and that person might not be there then. Yeah, no, that's good, Taylor. Yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, like we structure Southside Youth with the intention of being able to build those real friendships. And like that's why we do small groups. That's why we encourage you to actually participate in your small groups. That's why we encourage you to spend time with your leader and to get to know the people in your small group, because that, I believe, is how you can cultivate good, real friendships. Yeah. Right. And it's really important. And I mean, the reality is too, like, look at the friends in your life right now and ask yourself, like, would I want to be them? Because I hate to break it to you, like you will become the people that you are with. Yeah. And so if you are looking around and you're like, man, like they're always getting into trouble and maybe they're always making poor decisions and you don't want that for your life, like maybe you should ask yourself, do I need to make a decision about who I'm spending time with?
Because I think if we all are honest with ourselves too, like we could either say that we are the type of person who is different with different people, or we know somebody like that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and like that is also a tough thing to be able to like hold up a mirror to yourself and ask.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, am I willing to maybe even like distance myself from this person because they're a bad influence on me?
I think that's good.
So, I don't know. Yeah, guys, I feel like we could talk all night long, specifically me. But we are running out of time. And so I think that, I mean, I would love to be able to do this again. I want to really encourage you guys, like if you were one of those people who didn't get your question answered, or there's a specific situation that you want to have someone speak to, maybe you need help, like maybe you're like, man, I really am being hurt in this relationship, and you want someone to give you advice, or you want someone to even just walk with you through that, please send us a DM, and we would love to connect with you. You can do that on Instagram. You could also send us an email. If you guys use emails, doubt it. But
Carrier pigeon.
youth@southsidelife.com. You can send it to that email. Or you can DM us on Instagram. Because we would really love to partner with you in what you're going through and how you're navigating your relationships, romantic or otherwise. Yeah, so Dylan already mentioned this, but next week we are also not meeting in person. Taylor, what are we going to be doing next week?
Oh boy, oh boy. I am excited. Next week, we are another live stream. We are going to be playing some video games.
What are we going to be playing, Taylor?
Oh, it better be Fortnite, because I have been training for the last few months to dial in my victory royales.
So,
and boy, oh boy.
yeah, so we're going to be getting some dubs next week, but we're going to be doing something similar to this in the sense that if you have questions, like maybe it's about life, maybe it's about God, faith, friendship, maybe it's about why we're just so good at Fortnite.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of those.
You can ask those questions next week. It'll be the same time. So please keep a lookout on our socials, as well as I'll be sending out email and text to your parents so you guys can get the link to that stream as well. It's going to be on Twitch. So we will see you guys next week. Send us a DM if you have any other questions. Love you guys. Have an incredible Wednesday night.